Hello, everybody. Welcome to your favorite teaching podcast. Today we have special guest Stephen Aguilar and Samantha Hodge. Welcome, Stephen and Samantha. How are
Hi,
you
how are you
doing?
doing?
I'm good.
Good to see
You all
you.
right?
Good to see
It's good to
you.
see you too. We have a very unusual discussion here. We're not talking teaching today, Jacob. Can we take a break every once in a while, Jacob? Does it always have to be about getting up there and
No, sir.
to the youth of our day? Today we're talking a TV show. I don't think yeah, we have done that, but it's been kind of Abbott Elementary
Couple.
and Back Cotter.
Dairy Elementary, Dairy School,
This
yeah.
is just a show we like. I know you like it, Jacob. I've always liked it too. But I'm going to ask you, Stephen and Samantha, what makes you kids? I consider these two kids, right? At my age, everybody under 50 is a kid. Uh, what makes you kids or yeah, 20 somethings so interested in a boomer show like MASH? And before you answer, I just think about MASH as I'm rewatching it. So I've only seen, I'm working through the episodes now, and I saw the first five episodes. And two things really struck me this time around. First of all, the writing, the jokes. And I've said this before when we review movies. If you can make me laugh, that's all you need to do. I like the movie. I don't care. If I'm laughing, I like it. I'm gonna recommend the movie and the TV show. The writing feels like it was written from I'm not saying a different era, but it feels like it's professional writing. Like it's really strong jokes. Uh, and I obviously the characters pop out too. And I want to say something about McLean Stevenson. Everybody always talks about Alan Alda, and I'm sure he's going to get praised, deservedly so. But McLean Stevenson and his relationship with Radar, Gary Berghoff, so witty, so fun, so lighthearted. And you can't when he comes on, so I like them all. I like Alan Alda, but there's something about McLean Stevenson when he's on screen, I'm already smiling. He hasn't said anything. I'm already smiling, and I feel good inside. I feel good inside. I do want to say another thing. I know I'm talking too much, but I'm going to just sit back and just listen to you talk. The sight gags. There's so many sight gags that I didn't remember this. So what I mean, episode two. See, I'm laughing. Colonel William Blake, Mike Stevenson, prizes this desk, right? Prizes this desk. Such good writing, right? It's just very beginning of the episode. He's detailed, and then
Yeah.
Alan Fox, Hawkeye, and they scheme as they're trying to figure out this problem by not having enough meds. So the MASH is Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Yeah.
This is a show about the Korean War. Started out as a book, a novel turned. Now, how many times has this happened? A book turned into a movie, very successful movie turned into a wildly successful TV show. Um, Everybody loved MASH in its day, and it's really a comedy about war, and I think that's the right move. When Kubrick set out to write Doctor Strangelove, he realized we got to turn this into a comedy because it's too ridiculous to take it seriously. That's the right move. MASH did it, and you're laughing in between very serious parts. So I was going back to the desk. Long story short, they figure out in order to get the supplies that they need to address the problems of these sick soldiers, let's trade the black market, the desk, and you see this desk fly off in the helicopter. It's
Yeah.
such a good sight gag. And I didn't remember they have several of those. The boxing thing where you got the
Yeah.
boxing sniffing the ether or whatever off the boxing glove in the next episode, and the guy falls into the boxer falls into the rope onto Hot Lips and Frank. So it's so absurd, but you can't help but laugh.
You're reminding me how strong the first five episodes actually are. Like that
Oh
all
yeah.
happened so early on.
Yes. I think, and no shade on. I love Winchester, by the way. I mean, he's in the
It's
Mount
good.
Rushmore, probably. of all the MASH characters. But I'm not as enamored of the as much as I like those later episodes. I'm not as enamored of them as I am of the first iteration. I like Colonel Potter. I love Colonel Blake.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I I like now I'm forgetting Honeycutt. I like Honeycutt. I love Trapper John. So I'm gonna shut up. Steven, Samantha, please tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I went right.
Well, I'll speak, I guess, as the newest fan. Samantha showed me the show. I was like, "You're old. You're a boomer." Even though we're basically the same age, I didn't really get it. I sit down and I watch the show, and I pretty much instantly fall in love. I think if I had to dial it down to why, it's the comedy and the seriousness of the show. Within seconds, it's splitting. You're laughing, and then you're just like, wow, this is real war, and all the things that they're going through. And each character handles it differently, right? Alan Alda is just like always making jokes. Basically, even in the worst situations, he says just jokes that you're. It's just great writing, and you don't even like. Almost that the character isn't real because like I've never met someone that has that sort of wit. And
Except your Uncle Ruben, but we'll
so I think that's maybe the best part, that you are laughing and then you're hit with this seriousness. And obviously I think that's because of the writing, like you said.
And I would agree with that. The writing is phenomenal, but it's also, to me, the characters that really make it. One thing that I really adore and one of my favorite parts of the show is Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan's her whole character arc. Like at first she is not a character I would enjoy, but then you see how she develops and grows from going through Frank Burns, Donald Penobscot, and then just being by herself. She really makes a lot of changes, and I really enjoy that. Like the characters are very much more of a real people.
A lot of depth.
Yes, they have a lot of depth, and that's what I really enjoy.
I think with her more than any of the characters, you see that because she stayed throughout the whole. And Alan Alda stayed the whole time.
The whole
But
show.
you got to see that with her, and it's so sad that we just lost her. Right, every time we lose one of these characters, it just kills me. When we lost what's his name, McLean Stevenson a few years ago, the guy who played him in the movie died the same day.
Wow.
Both Colonel Blakes died in the same day, so it was just
Wow.
really weird. But then others have passed. William Christopher character, the Father McKay, and
let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about the show.
Okay. I didn't know my
Not
daddy
bring the
was
whole.
here.
Let's not
But
bring the whole.
no. But I'm saying that all these characters have they became part of, like, I hate to say this, I don't sound corny, but kind of like part of the family. So you get really drawn to them. So when you do hear that they pass, you're saddened. But I will say this, and it's kind of something that we don't always see. But the Radar character, he changed. You saw him in the beginning. He wasn't so cuddly and fun. But as the series went on, he became just kind of a little goofy, but a little silly. But he's a great actor, right? Gary Berghoff, just wonderful. And his whole relationship with Henry Blake, that was just the best duo there was. I mean, it's like Oliver Hardy. I mean, right,
It,
Ruben?
it's
Yeah,
pretty.
that's very good.
It's pretty play. No, he's pretty playful and funny in the beginning. He's not dark. I mean,
I'm thinking maybe the movie more, but then TV
in the
show, yeah.
series. Yeah, I'm talking about the series. He's funny. To me, he's very. It's a very. I don't want to say thankless role, but it's so subtle and yet it's the right note. He's such a good actor, but you might not notice that at first because he kind of doesn't have a lot to do. But so he comes in. I, his interaction with William Blake, I can't even complete my sentence. I start to laugh. It's like it reminds me when I'm watching it. It reminds me of Laurel and Hardy. It's the only thing I could think of where you have the funny guy and the straight guy, like kind of McLean Stevens, kind of the straight guy, but he's funny. And Raider goes, "Oh, I got this. Oh yeah, he's coming in right now. Hawkeye's coming in right now."
And he's holding up the
and then
whole.
bring in Hawkeye. Oh, and it upends William
Yeah.
Colonel Blake. It's very funny. What were you gonna say?
And he's the core of the whole MASH unit. Yet he's almost like the young. He's the kid of the whole show.
Yeah.
He's the youngest. He's the baby. Yet he's holding everything together. He's
Yeah,
like almost like maybe like the lowest rank, or he doesn't really have much power. Yet he holds everything together.
yeah,
And
it's
I think
true.
you can kind of tell that a little bit in the beginning, and over the whole show, you learn more. Like, yeah, he's basically doing everything. He's doing all the hard work. Obviously, the doctors are doing doctor things, but for the actual army part, he's doing everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's a very good insight, and it really he does really hold that together, and I like that. I also appreciate these other minor characters that contribute and then will leave. So you have Klinger who comes in, and one of the early episodes is all he did. It's so ridiculous, but it's funny, man. It's just all he did was he provided humor. The it's such a dumb joke, but an actor has to play it, and it's thankless in a way, but it serves its purpose. Be, the colonel, some colonel comes in and he is outraged as he sees, hey, who goes there? And he's in a dress. He goes, what are you doing? And the whole thing is a madhouse, right? He's going through the
Yeah.
whole map, this outside colonel to investigate something. Everywhere he turns, it gets worse. It's such a classic kind of noise, that noise is off type of thing where things kind of disintegrate around you in madcap humor, and it really works, but it's fast. An actor has to be willing to do it and then walk out. You see that on stage a lot, but it's really
He
good.
does that so well because there's a couple episodes that when you're sharing, Ruben, it comes out with the clinger. They start a little piece, a little funny thing. Like there's an episode in season 2 where uh Colonel Blake is being court-martialed possibly, and
Yeah.
he's telling stories about the unit, and you know that Klinger is always trying to take off. He's trying to go AWOL, and you see him on this big old, he has this big old what do you call it,
My hang glider
like a
thing.
glider, like a hang glider, and you just see him go off, and you see him on the hang glider. And they put it on like a green screen or something.
Yeah.
He's doing this, and they said we found him 2 miles down the road unconscious, but he was wearing these pink little shoes, that's nice dress, and just the way just a couple of seconds, but just you're laughing, and it's just one after another. But yeah, I mean, he provided that so well. There's little tidbits of humor, so I love Klinger. He's still with us, thank God. I'm sorry, I don't want to be sad, but he's like 91 years old.
We're still trying to bring the whole show down.
Okay.
The other thing, we're trying to talk about a comedy here. The other thing is we can't forget Frank Burns. Larry Linville played that character, and I really was looking at him this time, and it's a acting job that he does because you have to hate this guy, or you have to follow him and hate him. You can't. He has to be funny, and
Yeah.
and you hate what he's doing at the same time. And he's got a real comedy sensibility. I really like Frank. I hate Frank, but I like him.
How do you
So
think he's 100% necessary? You cannot
yeah,
have the show without him. Same with Winchester in the later series, later half. You need them. They're crucial to the whole thing.
You need the necessary small time antagonists in the show
Yeah.
to help stoke the flames a little bit when there isn't a war going on, I guess you could say. When they
Right.
don't have the immediate effects of the war, you need that character there to.
And it's funny, he's the antagonist with Houlihan, but he also is the foil to Pierce and McIntyre. So he's both. And he does it so well. Maybe I hate to say the best actor of them all, but he is incredible, right? I mean, just everything he does is so wonderful, and you just kind of
from
believe that he's this character, Larry Linville. I mean, Frank Burns' character. He's so
yes,
wonderful.
and to the point that Stephen made with Samantha about how the tone will shift between great humor, great writing, comedy to seriousness. There's an episode early on in which Frank is just trying to take down Hawkeye. Alan Alda is just trying to take him down. I mean, he's doing everything he can. Total jealousy, very just angry, and his ego is pricked because he's being reminded over and over again that Hawkeye's a better surgeon than you are, sir. And Hawkeye makes it worse by there's a great joke where he goes, "You look like you've been tired. You're tired too, practicing malpractice, doing malpractice, right?" Such great lines. And but at one point, um, they they resolve it sort of. Hawkeye's going to be the chief surgeon there, or whatever title he
Yeah.
has. And at the end of this episode, I don't know if you recall this, but um, Trapper calls over Hawkeye to say, "I need a little help here with this one. I'm done with my situation. Can you sew it up over here, nurse?" And he goes to help Trapper, and then Frank Burns goes, "Hey, Hawkeye, could you help me here first?" And he goes, "Yeah." And it showed some, you know, ego checking on Frank's part, and it was really
Yeah.
warm. It had that nice resolution. It was pretty serious, how they worked it out, and I really it's that seriousness that happens that really makes this show special, like you mentioned, Samantha.
And I think there's so much depth. I mean, we can hit on everything, but I think what makes it a great show is every character, even the side characters, have so much depth. Where that reminded me later on, I don't know exactly if Winchester is the best. I think they kind of are saying that he is. He's better than Hawkeye. And there's exactly like that, but now Hawkeye is asking Winchester for help in surgery because Winchester did something way better than him. And so I think there's like a nice development of like Hawkeye was the best, and now he had to have his ego check, and that Winchester was the better.
What an interesting character Winchester is. He's
Yeah.
unforgettable. He just he's a little bit bothered by Hawkeye and BJ, but he kind of looks down on them. He's elevated. What a
Yeah.
weird ego. He's into classical music, and yet it was so weird for me when I heard his real voice because David Ogden Stiers is like he's Winchester. That's his voice. That's him. That's what I thought he was. He's such a good actor, but
Yeah.
he talks totally different. I think he's
Yeah.
from Texas, if I'm not, or something like that. I might be wrong.
I think he did Prince. He did a movie, right? Like, was it did Disney film? He did a voice. I can't remember which it was. I think
I
it
know
was.
he was in a Woody Allen film, and it was like, whoa, this is
Hmm.
weird. Um, so what about this? Is there anything else? I mean, is there a particular episode that stays with you? Um, I mean, there's some haunting episodes. I know, like at the later end of the show, some people bugged out. There's that word.
But
Right? They bugged out of MASH because they were purists and they said this isn't the same MASH I signed up for. It's gotten too serious.
Yeah.
To me, it was always a good show though, even though it wasn't as I mean, you're not laughing as much. It's still good. Like I'm thinking about the show when Hawkeye. Maybe I'm plot spoiling it here for you, Steven. When Hawkeye and Hot Lips fall in love or whatever they did. Um,
Wow.
is that the Jake? Is that the same episode where he's by him? Where Hawk? See, Pete, I mentioned this, and some Mash people hate this episode, but I love it.
Mm.
I'm not sure if this is the same episode, so I might be
Yeah.
combining years. Remember the episode where Hawkeye is just talking to himself, and the Korean is just sitting in the same room,
Hmm.
and Hawkeye's talking, 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 talking.
Yeah. I
it's
do
not the
remember that.
same episode, I don't think.
That's not the same episode. Okay, the one where he's talking to. Do you remember? You know Samantha, right? What I'm
Yeah.
referring to? That's an amazing episode.
Hmm.
Even though it's not the pratfall, the whole thing, but it kind of is haunting and it's great. It's great performance.
Hmm.
Any thoughts about that? About the later episodes?
I would say one of my favorite ones from, I believe it is later on, is when he gets the letters from, I believe it's like one of the kindergartner teachers from his hometown, Crabapple Cove, and one of the children write him something and the teacher sends all the letters to them, and everyone gets some letters to respond to, like some students from, but Hawkeye gets one that is something like, I don't remember exactly verbatim, but it's the child's basically saying like, "Oh, my brother died in this war. Why couldn't you save him?" Or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And that was just such a heavy episode. And he was going to like Father Mulcahy, and everybody is trying to find an answer for this kid, but he couldn't. because that's war. And that's one of those most haunting episodes that to me count because while Hawkeye does, he always has the reminder of like the more mortality of everything, but in this case he's getting to see it, you could say almost stateside, like how people are at home, the families responding.
Those episodes, especially the latter ones, they're a lot more serious. But it's funny how the MASH was always top five. Like I don't think it ever dropped past five as average up until 11, did 11 seasons. And so that's pretty hard to do. Usually when you're in the 11th season, you're already, number 40th out of 70 or 60, and they're about to escort you out. MASH stayed on top. And even that last episode, as you guys know, it was one of the most watched or most watched episodic episode of all time, right? But Ruben and I think we would agree, Ruben, we didn't start watching this till later on, like season maybe 8 or 9. And so there was the more serious ones. And then I think it was a treat for us when we started watching the earlier ones. But no, there is something to say about the older ones. I mean, the latter ones, because people kept watching them because of what you just shared, Sam. There's some really serious topics that are being dealt with. I was thinking about one where it was kind of dealing with racism. There's a guy who comes in and he's getting blood transfusion, and he's saying, "Hey, make sure you give me the right color blood." And they're like, it's red." I mean, not red, but it's the same color for everybody. And then you can see he's a racist, right? And so as he's laying down and he's out, I guess they put him out, him, McIntyre and Pierce, Hawkeye, they decided to color him dark, right? Like they put some type of ointment on him that was good for like 2 or 3 days. And all of a sudden, his dark complexion, he's like freaking out. And they're like, "Hey, we gave you." He finds out they gave him an African American's blood, and so he was like, "What? What are you doing?" And then he realizes after talking to him, the soldier, that wait a minute, there are some, because there was a surgeon who came up with plasma that was got into a car accident, and they wouldn't see him at this hospital because he was black, and so he died. And Hawkeye shared that story with the soldier, and it really touched him. And he said that, "Hey, you know what? I'm thinking differently." And so they dealt with topics like that, prejudice, racism, and at the same time being funny, coloring him, dark and black, so he could see kind of how it feels for a moment, but not that you could totally feel it, but the idea. But those type of topics were just great, and they did so well, and they did so many of them. They did over like 251 episodes, so you get to see a little bit of that. And so anyway, I just I love how they did that.
I think they did talk about a lot of those topics in a pretty good way. Like throughout the whole show, Hawkeye is just fighting against racism. Frank doesn't want to operate on the Chinese soldiers pretty often. That comes up, and Hawkeye is always helping them. He's like, he just wants to heal all the time. He just wants to heal. There's one episode actually I just thought of where he's with Potter. I forget where they went. They got their Jeep is totaled. They're in this hole, and Potter's like shooting out of the hole at the soldiers, and he's like, "Shoot your gun, Hawkeye!" And he just shoots it straight up in the air. He's like, "I'm not." He just will not shoot it. Like it's showing like they're gonna die, and he just shoots it up in the air, and he's like, "I shot my gun. I did my job." So
he can't understand. He's a healer, so he can't put them together,
Yeah.
like the healer and somebody who puts bullets into somebody else, even though, like you said, they're about to maybe get killed. I remember that episode.
Yeah.
That was pretty heavy.
And just going back to the racism, like he always is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's some, like, I like that aspect about him, of course. And there's some aspects where I'm like, he's not perfect. He was sleeping around a lot. He gave some bad advice, I think, to Radar sometimes, just go to Seoul and just get it over with, lose your virginity and stuff like that. And I think sometimes we can talk like, do we like this part of Hawkeye, or is he giving bad advice? And that just shows like he's human. He's not the hero. He's not the perfect character. He's just a guy.
Yeah, and I mean, they partied a lot.
And drank a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the height of creativity. It's hard enough, I think, to be funny and to write jokes that are strong, which is going on, but also to say something as well. And there's in the early episodes, there's a show about human trafficking. No other way around it. And it's a funny show. It's a funny episode.
Yeah.
but they navigate it so professionally. This show where you're laughing, but then you're also horrified. And Hawkeye takes this guy aside and goes, "Hey," the guy says, "Hey, take the gook, move her elsewhere or something." And Hawkeye turns the guy around and goes, "Hey, I don't like that word, so don't say it." And it was Hawkeye. I've never seen him. There was no joke.
Very stern.
Very stern, and so it's really the height of creativity, I think, and art to be able to be funny and serious. So it's kind of that's the theme to do it so well. I can't really think of any show like it that I could think of. The only show I think that makes me laugh and horrified would be The Sopranos. So, and that's my favorite show of all time. So there's that. But there's no show like MASH. And any last words before we sign off?
I think it's definitely my top 3 show. I love
Oh,
it. This is my second iteration of running through the whole show.
Okay.
wow.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I feel
Thank
the
you for
same
having
way.
us.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you guys came on and just to chat with it because we saw it as kids and now we see you guys enjoying it and it's fun to know that other generations are enjoying it. So that means it's going to be around a lot, even maybe for your children, who knows? But yeah, I mean, Kim and I are going through it again, and we had the DVDs but now we're just streaming it just because we're a little lazy. But
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun.
Very good. Thank you, Stephen and Samantha, for enjoying our generation shows. If you could call it our generation, Jacob, maybe, yeah. And for joining us on our podcast. Is this your first time, Stephen, with us?
Yeah, first
It
time.
is.
Okay, I'm
For the
glad.
best episode. So
That's
for
right.
MASH.
That's right.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.